Hi, everyone. This is David, and welcome to today's live stream. We're going to be covering the last lesson in our series of lessons on sentence combining. And today we'll be looking at noun substitutes. Noun substitutes are very important because what noun substitutes allow you to do is to create subjects and objects, anything that it takes the place of a noun in a sentence. It allows you to create subjects that are more info packed, that go beyond just the one or two word subjects. Being able to go beyond one or two word subjects allows you more complexity in your ideas. It allows you to more clearly synthesize the ideas that you're dealing with. As you know, all of you here are in college, usually on the master's and doctoral degree in these live streams. And so part of the issue that you're dealing with in your writing is how to convey complex ideas in clear sentences. And noun substitutes is an excellent way of doing that. Okay, let's get started on noun substitutes and how you can use them in your writing. So here we are. The first thing we're going to do is to define the types of noun substitutes that we're going to cover today. And those types are gerund phrases, infinitive phrases, and that clause and WH clauses, which also includes the how clause. Those are the four constructions that we will practice, define, and practice using today. Okay, let's take a look first at an overview of all of these constructions, and so that you can kind of begin to recognize them, that you have encountered them before in your reading. But now we want to put a name on them. And by putting a name or a label on them, we hope that you'll be able to better identify them and eventually use them in the future. So here's the first one. You could deposit nuclear waste in outer space. This would be one way to solve a difficult problem. I can't tell you how many times I have seen that exact sentence in student writing. That sentence contains an error, and that error is with the word this, which is called broad pronoun reference error. That is the attempt to use a pronoun to refer back to an implied set of ideas or an implied action in the previous sentence. And you really can't do that. You need to make such things explicit and not implicit. Same way with this one. Some people blame all social problems on moral decay. That is a gross simplification. That's a great construction for lower level college writing, for conversation. But in the kind of writing that you guys are doing, which is a more of a professional academic writing, you really need to get beyond this misuse of pronouns. And one way of doing that is with noun substitutes. Another example, Laura was late for the trial and it made the judge furious. That is not the clef it or the dummy it. That it tries to refer to something in the previous clause. And that something was lateness. But notice that in the previous clause, lateness is not there. It is implied. The act of Laura being late or her lateness is implied. So let's take a look at how to correct some of these. Here's the first one that we're going to look at. Here you begin as we normally do in sentence combining, and that is to delete anything that we consider to be redundant. The first case, you could, is obviously something that needs to be deleted. You're not supposed to use the second person in your academic writing. And then the second one we recognize as the implied it or the broad pronoun this. Okay, and so to change that, we simply change the verb to an ing. That is how you create gerunds, depositing nuclear waste in outer space would be one way to solve a problem. We get rid of the you and we get rid of the vague pronoun this. And you see that to create a gerund, all you need to do is pick a verb and add an ing to it. Let's take a look at the second type. Some people blame all social problems on moral decay. And again, we simply recognize the redundancy. Beginning sentences with some people, everybody, most people, a lot of people, that's okay for a very low level kind of writing. And it's okay in casual conversation. But in academic writing, you need to be more concise and precise with your language. So some people just won't cut it. Too vague. And then we've already identified the problem with that. So what do? We put a to in front of the verb, and that's how you create an infinitive. To create any infinitive, you put the preposition to in front of a present tense verb. And that's what we have done here. To blame all social problems on moral decay is a gross oversimplification. Infinitive phrase used as a noun. In this case, that noun serves as the subject of the sentence. Okay, and then the last one, we're going to be looking at the that and the W clauses. Here, again, we look at the it, and we know that it is that vague pronoun reference it. It refers to something implied in the previous clause. And so that Laura was late for the trial made the judge furious. You could also use a gerund in that case. You could say Laura being late for the trial made the judge furious. And sometimes in formal writing, you want to go ahead and make that gerund possessive to create what's called an ablative absolute. If anybody ever says to you, you need to make the noun or pronoun before gerund possessive, they are referring to a very, very old construction in English. It goes back 40, 50 years ago. It's called the ablative absolute. And it's okay to put the apostrophe S, but we really don't see it that often anymore. Something we've gotten away from. Okay, let's talk about how to correct this sentence or to change the sentence or to improve the sentence with a this or a that clause. WH clause. Why more Americans, let's read the original first. Why don't more Americans listen to classical music? This is a mystery to Europeans. I guess that could be okay if you really want to put the emphasis on the question. But if you're looking to propose an idea in a single sentence, you would want to shift to the use of a WH clause. And that's what we have done here. Why more Americans don't listen to classical music is a mystery to Europeans. Many of these WH and HO clauses or phrases begin as questions, often rhetorical questions. And this kind of noun substitute gives you the opportunity to shift from a rhetorical question to a positive declarative statement. Okay, we have reviewed this slightly. Let's go ahead and make sure we get it down pat. To create a gerund, you change a finite verb to its ing form. You smoke cigarettes. This is dangerous to your health. Change that finite verb to its ing form. Smoking cigarettes is dangerous to your health. That is a gerund, or gerund phrase in this case, which serves as the subject of this sentence. Here's another example. Jasmine cooks with tofu. Jasmine loves this. Change the finite verb to ing. Jasmine loves, cooking with tofu. I think I said the name wrong. I'm sorry. Jasmine loves cooking with tofu. So that's a gerund. Let's talk about how to create an infinitive. You simply pick the verb that you want to make into infinitive, make sure it's in the present simple, and add to in front of it. Cristiano Ronaldo loves this. He plays football. Loves to play football. Now, you could also make that a gerund as well. Cristiano Ronaldo loves playing football. Either one is fine, but here you're given two alternatives to create this uh, object, this noun substitute, which serves as the object of the verb love, loves, and you can do it either with a gerund or with an infinitive phrase, as you see here. Let's look at another example. Deidre helped her friend baked a cake. Deidre helped her friend to bake a cake. We simply took the word baked, we changed it to the present simple, bake, and put a to in front of it, and we've got our infinitive phrase that serves as the indirect object of the verb helped. Same way with that clauses. Simply reduce the redundant elements and put in that to create a dependent clause in the second sentence. He loved Mary Jane is the independent clause. When you put that in front of it, that he loved Mary Jane, that it is now a restrictive dependent clause. I suspect something. Fatima eloped with her boyfriend. And again, we simply put that, which changes the second clause, independent clause, into a new restrictive dependent clause. I suspect that. Now, you might hear something like, Spider-Man said he loved Mary Jane, or I suspect Fatima eloped. And that's okay for conversation. But in academic writing, it's better to go ahead and put the that in there. Without the that, you have a understood that. And you know how we feel about things being implied or understood. Rather, in academic writing, we want to make them explicit. So instead of having an understood dependent clause, Spider-Man said he loved Mary Jane, take out the parentheses around that and go ahead and use it. The same with WH clauses. These are your basic options here when creating the WH and the how clauses. And all of these can be used to reduce an independent clause into a dependent clause and join the two together for more fluidity in your sentences, more complexity in your sentences while still remaining clear. Not that complexity by itself is a desired element, but complexity serves a purpose in academic writing, in that you're able to take a lot of different ideas and details and bring them together or synthesize them. And it's that critical thinking that is represented by your ability to synthesize details and ideas that really is what we're going for, not just some measure of complexity. So many islanders know this. What is it like to survive a typhoon? Many of these WH clauses are formed from questions, either implied or stated. It would be changed to something like, many islanders. Whoop! I left out the word no there. Sorry about that. Typing too fast. Little midstream correction here. I want you to have the correct sentences. Many islanders know what it is like. Many islanders know is the subject and verb, and then the what it is like to survive our typhoon is a WH clause, a dependent clause, that is now substituting as a direct object. A noun substituting as a noun and serving as a direct object. Another one, wars have made Westerners realize this, how dependent they are on other nations for oil and gas. Normally in academic writing, I would see something like this. Wars have made Westerners realize their dependence. Westerners realize they are dependent on other nations for oil and gas. That's what I would normally see in kind of mid-level academic writing. Well, let's make this a higher level of academic writing. by using a WH or HO clause here. Wars have made Westerners realize what? How dependent they are on other nations for gas and oil. So the how clause becomes a noun substitute and serves as a direct object. So a little bit of practice. Let me pull this down so I can see the chat area. Oh, we have Infected Chris. Hey, how you doing? Rama. There you go. I think you got it, Infected Chris. You probably got the answer before I showed it. Surish. Surish, when you ask, can we use this? Tell me exactly what this refers to. There's that pronoun issue that we've been dealing with. That's exactly right. Oh, I see what you're doing, Suresh. At that point in the presentation, I was doing infinitive phrases and clauses. And so you're asking, could you change it to a gerund, blaming? You're exactly right. Instead of to blame, infinitive, you could say blaming. That's exactly right, Suresh. Can you also eliminate the that? Yes, you did indeed. Yeah, Suresh, um, I'm really glad to see you ask those kinds of questions because it shows me that you're in the exact mindset that you should be in. And that mindset is, how can I eliminate unnecessary words? How can I make my sentences even more condensed, even more streamlined? I really like your thought process there. Excellent. Let's see. Let's do a little bit of practice here. You guys go ahead and combine that one for me using a gerund. Millions of people rely on this. They garden for relaxation and exercise. Please type in your answer. Or you could just type in the gerund that you would use. Millions of people rely on this. They garden for relaxation and exercise. Pull out a verb and add an ing to it. Delete the shaft, and you got it. Okay, need an answer, guys. Abu Bakar Jabo, hello, how you doing? Okay, do I need to give this one to you? Okay, here it is. Millions of people rely on gardening. Gardening becomes a gerund. It becomes a noun substitute used as a direct object of the verb rely on. Let's try another one. Gardening. Thank you, Infected Chris. Thank you. Thank you, Suresh. Thank you. I just didn't wait long enough. I should have known you guys had the answer. I just didn't wait long enough. I apologize. You want to try that one too? And you can just type in the gerunds that instead of the whole sentence, if that would save time. In the last two of those, that pair, what verbs would you change into a gerund? You can bury a dead cat at midnight, or you can rub the spot with grasshopper spit. This cures warts as well as over-the-counter medicines. Thank you. Exactly. Thank you, Rama. Excellent. Here we have Suresh. I would keep that first verb bury as my main verb, my verb in my main clause. Or I would keep cure as my main clause. You've got to have one finite verb that serves as the verb of your main clause. Yeah, infected Chris, I think that's one way of doing it. Burying a dead cat at midnight or rubbing the spot with grasshopper spit cures warts. Excuse me. That yeah, that definitely works. Okay, gerunds, excellent. Zafar, can you use a to? Let me look at that. Zafar asked if we can use a to before the verbs. I have a difficult time seeing the to there. It might be grammatically correct, Zafar, but in American English, at least, the more common way of saying it would be burying or rubbing cures warts. But I like the way you're thinking. You're thinking, which of these can I use? And you're testing them. Can I use this? Can I use that? Can I use this? And that's the only way that you can get better at these things is by challenging yourself, just as Zafar is doing. Challenging yourself. Let me try these out. So you're on the right road, Zafar. Here's an infinitive I want you to practice. Just give me the infinitive. Zafar, this one is for you. Give me the infinitive that you would use. Chris says you're not interested in trying either of those methods. Okay. So tell me more about what you're saying there. Are you saying that there's a third method that you would prefer? And that's fine. Yeah. Yeah, there aren't any pat answers, unfortunately, to these. These are all options. Options. And it's great to have these options because then you can apply them within the context of what you're saying. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You might want to just go to a dermatologist. That's what I would do, infected Chris. Zafar, you got it. Exactly, Zafar. That is the answer. Excellent, sir. Or madam, I don't know. 1868, over 16,000 Cherokees in Georgia, my home state, were forced to abandon their property, livestock, and belonging. That is a great way to bring those ideas together. That's called the Cherokee Trail of Tears, by the way, a famous event in American history that had to do with the genocide that white Americans committed against the Native Americans in this country. Okay, well, you guys are in great shape on this stuff. Thank you very much. It's really delightful to see you guys catch on to this, especially at this point, because this is something we've been doing now for 7, 8 weeks. And it's very clear to me that those of you who have done a majority of these lessons definitely know what this is all about now. Here's that in the WH clause. Today's youth are keenly aware that the Earth's climate is changing rapidly. Another thing that this particular combination helps you avoid, as a lot of untrained writers would write something like, the fact is, today's youth are keenly aware of the earth climates changing rapidly because of pollution. And that is not anywhere near where you could be. I might often hear something like, a fact that today's youth are keenly aware of. That's just throwing more fuel on the fire. Social unfairness is the reason. It is what justifies our government affirmative action. Social unfairness is what justifies. There we have our WH clause used as a noun substitute. So here is your homework. It can be downloaded from, sorry about that. It can be downloaded from this link. It's a bit.ly link. Let's see if this downloads here. And there it is. Saving the forest. Let me share my screen differently here. And we'll get into oops, oh God. Didn't want to share that. That was my clock. Okay, so there we are. Lesson number 7. And we're right on time. I usually like to devote, as you know, about 20, 30 minutes to a lesson. And then after the lesson, we get to ask and answer questions. And so we have one here. Affected Chris. Adding stuff like the fact of the matter sounds like high school. Yeah, that's exactly right, Infected Chris. And that becomes a habit, unfortunately, that is carried on. Another reason of adding that kind of fluff is that the writer thinks it impresses someone because you're using these kinds of stringy, wordy constructions. They think it makes the writing sound more formal. In actuality, it just takes away from clarity. It's a good insight, Infected Chris. Are you a teacher, by the way? Big Bird was, oh my God. Okay, you're welcome, Big Bird, and I'm going to need to go ahead and take that down. Okay. Share the link in the chat. Yes, I certainly will, Chris. I went ahead and blocked Big Bird. That username is highly inappropriate, and I hope Big Bird comes back, but with a username that does not offend our students here. As far as I know, there could be some underage people on this chat. YouTube is open to everyone, regardless of age, and we just can't have that. Share the link in chat. Yeah, let me go ahead and do that, Chris. Well, infected Chris, you say that you are not a teacher, but you should be. You know this stuff pretty well. Well, that's great. Tell me what your eighth grade English teacher did, infected Chris. What kind of exercises or assignments did that teacher do that successfully taught you so much about sentence construction? Okay, we are ready for your questions. I always want to hear what you're working on, what kind of issues are coming up that you would like to discuss. We have some really excellent people here. I'm sorry, Zafar. I am just now seeing this comment. Would you like to remind me what it refers to? I'm sorry that I'm just now seeing it. Okay. Okay, waiting for your questions and comments. And I think I'll get a drink of something. Okay. Ubiquitous. Yes, ubiquitous means everywhere. That's exactly right. So, where are you from, Zafar? Where are you studying? Suresh, what do you do with the homework? Uh, Thank you for asking that. I'm sorry. This is our eighth lesson on this, and I just assumed that everybody has been here for all of them, and I shouldn't. But you mail the homework to that email address that I just put in the chat window. And I download it. If you would send it as a Word document, but I can handle other types as well. But I download it, I convert it into a Word document if it's not already, and I make comments on it and send it back to you. Oh, Zafar is from Bangladesh and is studying at Peking. I once got a job offer from Peking University. I wish I had taken it. Okay, well, I do have one question for you. As of next week, we're going to be doing more traditional kinds of presentations. And over the past 8 weeks, when we've been doing sentence combining, you have shared a lot of your ideas. And I just want to confirm those ideas and what it is that you would most like a presentation on during our live streams. One idea that has been suggested is that I go through the process I use of doing research, taking notes, and then using those notes to write something. That's one idea that I have heard. Ms. R, I don't usually chat live, but I watch you enjoy. Oh, well, thank you, Ms. R. Well, thank you very much. And thank you for sticking around. And please tell me what you would like to be presented during these live chats, these live streams. Yes, that's exactly right, Suresh. Let me clarify that a little bit. I will share my screen. First, let me get something open so I can share it. Okay, increase the size a little bit. Okay, I'm going to share my screen.
All right, but first you'll have to unlock your device.
Okay, you should be seeing my screen now. Yeah, and for those of you who haven't been here for the other lessons, two things quickly. All of the lessons can be found on my channel under the Live tab. And so you're welcome to work through all of those lessons, beginning with relative phrases and clauses, participles on up, and send me the homework and I'd be happy to correct it for you. The other thing I wanted to point out is that you see here, and this is an answer to Suresh's question. Yes, I kind of suggest to you what the combinations could be. These are not necessarily rules that you have to follow. You can combine sentences however you wish. But in terms of practicing noun substitutes, the sentences are divided up into pairs or triplets or quadruples for you to combine. For example, the first one is, nowhere is life more abundant than in tropical rainforests, or nowhere is life more threatened than in tropical rainforest. And so I'm suggesting that you combine those into, nowhere is life more abundant or more threatened than in tropical rainforests. And so you kind of go through and use the structures that we've been practicing. Now, because this is lesson 7 and it's coming at the end of a long series of lessons, I did throw in sentences that you would use that call upon the use of some of these different constructions that we have practiced throughout this series. So please be aware of that. This is kind of like a cumulative final exam. Okay, Zafar is studying public policy. Excellent. I'm sure that you, after you get your degree, do you plan on going back and serving your country in that role, Zafar? In government or some other official capacity? Again, I'm asking for topics for our future live chats. Oh, so you are a civil servant. Oh, so you must be online at Peking University. I see. So you are already in the Civil Service Corps, and you are looking to increase your skills and your influence, I would imagine, in the Civil Service Corps. And I wish you the very best of luck on that, best success, and any way that I can help you, please let me know. Any way that we can help you. We have a pretty strong community here of regulars. I don't know if Rama Muhammad is still around or not, but Rama Muhammad is a regular, as is infected Chris and some of the others who are there. I see. Excellent. Well, congratulations, Zafar. And what degree will you be earning? Yes, infected Chris. Topics for future lessons. In other words, what do you want to see me present here on? Some of the topics in the past. Uh, I've done how to write a research methodology chapter, how to write a research proposal, how to read a journal article in 15 minutes or less. Uh, we can go to my YouTube channel and see that. Here's one from Suresh. Maybe you can do some videos on sentence combining with all 7 lessons you taught and also include commas, semicolons, dashes, colon. Yes, I have done a, um, a punctuation masterclass before, but I'm happy to do another punctuation masterclass again. And this, you have a great idea, Suresh, to use some of the complex sentences. I'm looking for my notepad here. To use some of the complex sentences that we've created with sentence combining to give a kind of punctuation workshop on them. I like that idea. I like that. That would give us a chance to revisit restrictive and non-restrictive, uh, the initial, medial, and terminal modifiers consisting of participle phrases, etc. Yeah, it would give us a chance to revisit a lot. So thank you, Suresh, for that. And Zafar wants to do your PhD in climate change policies. So I'm assuming you're finishing your master's now, and then you will start on your PhD. Is that correct? And I think, is it also correct that you're doing it online? The Chinese were some of the first people in the world, and Peking University is one of the most progressive universities in China, to really build its international student base and to offer full degree programs online. China really led the way. I got a job offer from Peking University in 1985. 1985. That's how long I had just gotten my doctoral degree. And they were reaching out at that point, getting young doctoral recipients to their school. It's a great school. Suresh says, combining punctuations with sentence combining will change our writing forever. That I agree with you totally, Suresh. I agree with you totally. So maybe, and this is how I'm kind of seeing the lesson. You tell me. I would take you through some sentence combining and put an emphasis on how to punctuate those constructions. Okay, other topics that you want to see covered. I will open up the backstage area of my channel and you can see the topics that I've covered. Let's see here. No, you're not missing a video on adverbs, Chris. I have not done a video on adverbs. You're into adverbs? Okay. Oh, I should have stopped sharing first. Okay, I'm now sharing the live stream portion of my channel. Okay, sure, Chris will do it. Here is Suresh. Can you also show the exceptions for the punctuation rules? That's tough, Suresh. I will mention them. It's hard to teach exceptions because when you get to that point, Suresh, punctuation becomes more of an art rather than a series of pat rules that you can rely on. I mean, I could take the work of some of the most popular fiction writers and nonfiction writers in the world, and if I took you through their prose, you would see them violate a lot of the punctuation rules. So I promise that I will point out when you have options, you know, but I like to pitch them as options rather than exceptions. Oh, here, Suresh is asking, let not your heart be troubled, semicolon. You believe in God, believe also in me. Well, this is the St. James Bible. It sounds like, which is forget the period of English it was. It's not Shakespeare. It's the period after Shakespearean English. I think it was Victorian English. So you have a Victorian English translation of a Hebrew text. So I'm not sure this is the greatest example, but if you were to put that Victorian English sentence into modern English, it would read, "Let your heart not be troubled. If you believe in God, you also believe in me." Excuse me. So that is a good example of how the semicolon was used in the 19th century. Uh, yeah, I just would not apply our contemporary rules to a text that was written in essentially a different language. Let me speak to this. In contemporary writing, semicolons are used two times in between independent clauses that do not have a coordinating conjunction, and to separate items in a series when those items already have their own internal periods and internal commas, excuse me. Now, I covered this in a former presentation in I think it was the Punctuation Masterclass. What you learned is correct, Suresh, that to the left of the semicolon must be the same to what is to the right of the semicolon. To the left must be the same as what is to the right, to the left. What is to the left must be the same as to what is to the right. It's like A equals B. They both must be the same. Yeah, the New King James Version continues to surprise me. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful version. I love the King James, and it's been one of the most popular versions of that ancient text for a long, long time. Simply because the English is so elevated, you know? It's close enough to our English that we can understand it. And yet, because of some of the constructions that we no longer use in contemporary English are there, it gives it a kind of elevated or a otherworldly sense. Okay, what other questions, you guys? Sounds like we're headed in the direction of adverbs and semicolons. If that's what you want, that's what I'll give. Okay, Infected Chris. House of Leaves is my favorite book of all time. It's full of grammar issues because it's a work of fiction. Exactly. We really have to combine or limit ourselves to academic writing because once you get outside of this little world that we're in with academic writing, uh, the rules become as slippery as eels. Were the translators masters of English? I would say definitely yes. And it was something that was worked on for literally years. I'd have to Google to see how long the various New James versions took, the original one and the revised one, but I'm sure it took at least a decade. Infected Chris, how to lay out, prepare, and pace yourself at the start of a semester. A schedule to follow towards the end of the semester final paper. I suppose how to pace yourself. Infected Chris, I feel like you kind of could do that one better than I could. And I'll tell you why. Because you're in the middle of it right now. I would almost like this. How about this? I'll put up a a question on my website, my community board on the website, and I will ask that question. What are your tips on pacing yourself from the beginning of the semester to the end? And I will collect those tips and share them. But I bet you guys have much better tips than I do. Now, my son is currently a junior on the undergraduate level, and I do have that experience of helping him to pace himself. But his needs, I think, are a lot different than the needs of those of you who are working on the graduate level. Your courses and course setup, structure, and deliverables are quite different. Oh, okay, Suresh. Please make a video combining sentences in every way possible. I got you. Yeah, that might be a good follow up in that a good follow up would be to make a video that reviews all of the sentence structures, combining structures that we have learned. I like it. It might have to be divided into two parts, Suresh. Otherwise, once you get over 4 or 5 minutes, you lose viewership. I certainly have the materials developed, and I think it would be easier to do it. Sounds good. Yeah, I agree with you, Chris. Thank you for these great ideas. And Chris, I will put that up. I think you're saying sounds good to my idea of putting up that thing. I should have some of you guys join me so that you can speak as well. Sure. Yeah, Suresh. Yeah, I did that for our midterm progress check in this sentence combining class. If you look on my live site, you'll see that there's a midterm review there. Let me share the screen. Where's that midterm review? Yeah, there it is. It's called midterm review, sentence combining midterm review. So I could take that and put it together with the stuff we have covered subsequently to that, and that would be a good video. Okay, thank you. Oh, you want me to do it on the paragraph level? Oh, Zarar. Yeah, sure, absolutely, absolutely. I've got some good materials on that. I just thought you guys were getting tired of the sentence combining, but yeah, combining sentences on the paragraph level to achieve greater paragraph coherence and clear organization is definitely something I could cover. You guys are really into sentence combining, huh? Well, almost the top of the hour. Thank you for that idea too, Zafar. I appreciate it. You're welcome, Suresh. Thank you for coming by and joining our group. Don't worry about, you should never worry about spelling in a live chat window. Spelling doesn't count in a live chat window. What else we got here? Well, I guess I can go ahead and let us go a little early. I will see you all next week. I hope to see your homework in between. And I will get busy on these great ideas that you have shared with me. In the meantime, if you have any questions, if I can help you in any way, please don't hesitate to get in contact with me. You have my email address, and you can also leave a comment on my channel. I check those every day, sometimes several times a day. So thank you guys very much, and I will see you later. You're welcome, Infected Chris. Thank you for all your great contributions. And the same to you. Same to you. Stay safe. Oh, yeah, sure. Yes, Suresh. Yeah, if you're on the Facebook Savvy Writers group, I should advertise that group a little bit more in this group, shouldn't I? But yeah, if you go to Facebook and you want to join the Savvy Writer Facebook group, I don't have a Telegram group. Do you prefer Telegram over Facebook? I certainly do. I hate Facebook. Yes, you can post questions on the Savvy Writer Facebook group, to my YouTube channel, or via email. Oh, you're in the group. Okay, great. Well, thanks for coming by. I got to go do my daily update. Okay, guys, I will talk to you later. Great to meet all you new people, and also thank you very much for the returning group. Okay, well, I will look into that, Suresh. Suresh is saying, would a Telegram group be better? And I will definitely look into that. It's much more immediate, and you don't have to put up with Facebook. What a cesspool that place is. Okay, talk to you later.